No matter how terribly you lived your life, every prisoner on death row gets to pick one last meal. It can be as extravagant or as simple as you want, but the choice is completely yours. Of course, we're dealing with quite a few crazed individuals, so why would we possibly think their meals would be traditional? Here are 10 of the most bizarre last meals ever by death row inmates.
Number 10. Oscar Ray Bolin Jr. was an American serial killer and convicted rapist who was executed in Florida for murder. In 1986, Bolin kidnapped and murdered 3 young women in Tampa, Florida. He was later connected to a 4th murder in Texas in 1987. For his last meal, he ordered a ribeye steak cooked medium rare, a baked potato that had both butter and sour cream, a salad that included tomato and cucumber on top, garlic bread, and a bottle of Coca-Cola. For dessert, some lemon meringue pie. Number 9. Earl Mitchell Forrest. Earl Mitchell Forrest was executed by the state of Missouri on Wednesday, May 11, 2016. He was pronounced dead at 7:18 p.m. CDT, inside the execution chamber at the Eastern Reception, Diagnostic, and Correction Center in Bonne Terre, Missouri. He was 66 years of age. He was executed for the murders of Michael Wells, Harriet Smith, and Deputy Sharon Joanne Barnes on December 9, 2002, in Salem, Missouri. He spent the last 13 years of his life on Missouri's death row. For his last meal, before his execution, he chose pasta, steak, tomatoes, cucumbers, a side of fruit, and a piece of chocolate cake. He washed that down with a glass of milk. Number 8. Lawrence Russell Brewer. He was a white supremacist who murdered James Byrd, Jr. on June 7, 1998 by dragging him on an asphalt road with his pickup truck for 3 miles until his head and right arm were severed upon hitting a culvert drain. Brewer was executed by lethal injection in response to the crime on September 21, 2011. For his last meal, he ordered 2 chicken fried steaks, fried okra, a bacon cheeseburger with triple the meat, 3 fajitas, a pound of barbecue, an entire meat lover's pizza, a pint of ice cream. But, death row inmates in Texas no longer get the last meal because of him after he ordered an absolutely mammoth last meal, and refused to eat a bite of it because he said he wasn't hungry. Number 7. Ronnie Lee Gardner was an American criminal who received the death penalty for killing a man during an attempted escape from a courthouse in 1985 and was executed by a firing squad by the state of Utah in 2010. His last meal consists of a lobster tail, steak, apple pie with vanilla ice cream, and 7-Up. He also requested to watch the Lord of the Rings film trilogy while he ate his meal. Number 6. John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy was an American serial killer and sex offender known as the Killer Clown who assaulted and murdered at least 33 young men and boys. Gacy regularly performed at children's hospitals and charitable events. In 1978, after one of Gacy's victims, Robert Price, was reported missing, police learned that Gacy was the last person known to have seen him. After obtaining a search warrant, police discovered the bodies of 29 boys and young men in or near Gacy's house. 4 other bodies were found in the nearby Des Plaines River. His last meal is a dozen deep-fried shrimp, a bucket of original recipe chicken from KFC, French fries, a pound of strawberries, and a bottle of Diet Coke. Number 5. Teresa Lewis. Teresa Wilson Bean Lewis was an American murderer who was the only woman on death row in Virginia prior to her execution. She was sentenced to death by lethal injection for the murders of her husband and stepson in October 2002. Details of her final meal: 2 chicken breasts, sweet peas with butter, a Dr. Pepper, and either German cake or apple pie for dessert. Number 4. James Edward Smith. He was a voodoo priest who killed a man during a robbery with a fatal shot to the chest. In 1990, he was executed in Texas by lethal injection. Before his execution, he requested a lump of dirt, which was denied, and got a yogurt cup instead. Number 3. Victor Figure. Authorities believe Feger kidnapped a doctor in an attempt to learn how to make drugs. When the doctor declined to help him, Feger shot him in the head and dumped his body in a cornfield. Feger was charged with kidnapping, robbery and murder in March of 1963. He was the last person put to death in the state of Iowa, and was sentenced to death by hanging. For his last meal, Feger asked for a single olive with the pit still in it. He told guards he hoped an olive tree would sprout from his grave as a sign of peace. After Feger was pronounced dead, authorities found the pit from the olive in one of his suit pockets. Number 2, Thomas Grasso. Thomas Grasso was convicted of robbery and murder. According to officials, Grasso strangled an 87-year-old woman with her own Christmas tree lights during a home invasion, and an 81-year-old man 6 months later in a separate robbery. Grasso was executed in Oklahoma by lethal injection. Grasso's last meal consists of 2 dozen steamed mussels, 2 dozen steamed clams, a double cheeseburger from Burger King, a half-dozen barbecued spare ribs, 2 strawberry milkshakes, 1/2 of a pumpkin pie with whipped cream, diced strawberries and SpaghettiOs that he did not receive. The odd part of his request was a tin of SpaghettiOs with meatballs which he demanded were served at room temperature. Instead, he was served spaghetti. Even more surprising is that he used his last words to claim his displeasure at this and said that he wanted the press to know that he did not get his SpaghettiOs. Number 1, Philip Ray Workman. Philip was an inmate on death row in Tennessee after he was convicted of murdering a police officer at Wendy's during a robbery. Before he was executed by lethal injection in May of 2007, he allegedly requested for his last meal to be a vegetarian pizza donated to any homeless person. As stated by the Office of the Clark County Prosecuting Attorney documents, police officials did not honor his request, as they do not donate to charities. According to Business Insider, members of the community, however, delivered pizzas to the homeless. If you enjoyed this video, and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.